Camera's rolling.
Baby, I'm too young to know any better, but I guess I'm just too old to care. I'm waiting on the morning light to clear the air. Now the sky is hung with regret, letting go that you pay flags. All the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated. You know, the one you didn't want to believe. The one that you hated. Take a look at it now. I'm the mess you created. The one that you hated. Now the sky is hung with regret, letting go that you pay flags. All the silence that keep me coming back. I'm the one that you hated. You know, the one you didn't want to believe. The one that you hated. Take a look at it now. I'm the mess you.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to Dad Talk Today. Did you hear what I said? Welcome back to Dad Talk. Dad. We called it Dad Talk. Why did we call it Dad Talk? Because we're a bunch of dads and then we're talking. We have a lot of mothers in here. We have grandmothers in here, stepmoms that love to hear these dads talking. On the other side of it, we got some that don't. Ooh. We're going to talk about that today. Really quick before we get into it, down there at the bottom of the screen, Dad Talk Today, no spaces. We said it again, Dad Talk. Dad Talk Today, no spaces. That's Cash App, Venmo, Patreon. Many ways you can support this show. Many ways you can support the awareness about dads. That's going to be the magic word for today. Dads. Yes, can you give me a hand? Dads matter. Dads are important. Did you like? Hold up one more time. Dads. Yes, thank you. Dad Talk. Some of you guys think I'm just being crazy right now, huh? But just that one little word, dads. Hold up. I got to do it again. Man, dude, you dads are on fire this morning. Just that one little word, dad, fathers, daddies, upset so many people. So many people. Why? Well, we'll talk about that. But many ways you can support dads and Dad Talk. We got subscriptions over there on YouTube. We also got this. We got the super chats. We got the memberships over on YouTube. We got the same thing over on Facebook. Please utilize those. You help us be able to do what we're doing now. But don't forget your Dad Talk Today gear that you can get now at dadtalktoday.com at the shop. I'm just kidding. You can. I'm not kidding. You can get it at the shop. I'm not trying to be a promo guy here, but at the same time, I know the war that we are fighting against dads. And what pains me is when we do so, the people that show up, moms too, this is not a gender war. Eric, you're causing division. These are people that want me to shut up, and I'm not going to shut up. You know what I'm going to do? Dads, daddy, father, male, masculinity. Can you feel it? Oh man, there's heads about to burst. And think of how easy that is to make that happen. Just because we talk about that subject. There is no shortage of people. Moms too. This happens just as much. No, it does not. Can a mother go through the same issues? I don't know. Yes. Let me say, yes, they can go through their family court. Are they facing the same legislation and the same system that men are? Absolutely not. And for anybody to deny that and to say that I'm the one that's wrong or causing division, you just want us to shut up. And you know what that makes me do? Dads, fathers, males, masculinity. So please stop it, because I don't see any of the dads going over to those pages and saying, hey, dads too. Well, that's a given, right? It's obvious. But we should have a space where we are okay to come and talk that doesn't offend you. Does the fact that dads talk about wanting to be in their children's lives, what they went through in the family courts and stuff, bother you that much? Man, that's a thin trigger, isn't it? That's a very thin trigger. You might want some counseling with that. You may. Because who are you, dads? Can you tell me the challenges that you faced? Can you tell me what challenge it was that you faced because you weren't a dad? Okay. What challenge came at you just because it was a challenge and not because you were a dad? Do dads have rights upon birth most of the time? No. Especially unmarried fathers? Absolutely not. You have a right to pay child support. Then you've got a right to go back to court and then fight for custody of your children. And if you've been a victim of paternity fraud, you don't have the right to stop paying child support for that child that was not yours until you find the dad and get him financially on the hook. And guess what? If mom loses custody in that time and he gets custody, you could be paying that man child support. There's no gender bias against dads. Dude, we're causing division. We're division talk today. We're dividing it, guys. Man, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was doing that. I really didn't know that. I didn't know that this, multi-billion-dollar a year industry and all these dads that don't have custody of their kids speaking up. It was my fault. It was all mine. I'm sorry, guys. I failed you. Yes, my sarcasm meter is very, very high this morning. And I think you get the point. What, maybe one more round of it. Can we do it just one more time? Do you want to do it? Dads, fathers, daddies, masculinity. Dude, it's crazy. That is the world we live in. I'm a dad of daughters, and I love them, and I know that they're going to be facing their challenges. I know it. Got a beautiful wife, beautiful mom. I love women. I love females. There is a certain type that comes in here, and you guys know who we're talking about, that don't want us to speak, don't want us to organize, but will claim they're fighting against the same thing. Anybody that can claim they're fighting against the same thing and can't see the challenges that you're going through and they're trying to cancel it. Can I give you a little secret? Ooh, this is going to be controversial. You ready for it? It's going to lay the smack down. Bam. 82.5 to 80% of the time, dad ends up without custody. In states like Texas, we can be anywhere from 90 to 94%. I am here to tell you, there's probably going to be a lot of times that if that mom doesn't have custody, it was for damn good reason. Okay. So you're going to put them even in the more minority. At the same time, you moms that are going through this, listen, my heart bleeds for you. Nobody believes you. And you want to know why? Because of the bias against dads. It is so biased against dads. It is such a challenge against fathers that if you don't get custody, you had to do something very, very, very wrong. And where do you go to if you're a mom that's going through the system? The feminist sites, they're the ones that's creating the division I'm getting accused of. They're the ones that created that division with that stereotype. And because you didn't win custody, you're looked down upon so bad. It really is a catch-22 for you. So what I would tell you is if you're one of the moms that are going through that system and you're saying, you know what, this sucks, man. This sucks. You know what? I'm going through it too. You should be cheering on these guys just as much because guess what happens if there is equality for fathers? Does anybody know the answer to that question? What happens if there is equality for dad? There's equality for moms. And if there's equality for moms and dads, guess who else gets equality? The children. The children. Look at what's going on in this country with the lack of masculinity in the fatherless homes. We are an important ingredient to the nuclear family. We are an important ingredient to our kids' upbringing, to their physical well-being, to their mental, to the morals, the lessons and everything they learn. And we want to take that ingredient out and act like, you know what, it's not as important as we really know it is. And let's make sure that they pay for that, which they are supposed to have already. Why does he have to go through family court in the first place? This is why people hate me. I understand. Experts, attorneys, this is why the system hates me. And I could give a flip. Attorneys, legislators, judges, I could give a flip less. You want to know why? Because we're going to talk the truth. And it's about time somebody gets on here and says what is on everybody's mind. If he is a fit, willing, and able father, he can take care of his child. He's good. You know, these are made up accusations or whatever. Some of these are so easy to spot, but say maybe none of those are going on. It's just the general hoopla that goes on in most of the divorces where they're fussing over who's going to get what. That dad shouldn't have never had to go to family court in the first place. Can I get an amen? All right, one more round of it. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm feeling good today. How about you guys? Yes, I had my coffee. You ready? Dads, daddies, fathers, masculinity, males, men, boys. Men are good. Dads, you matter. You're important. Don't let them tell you anything different. Don't make me do the button again, because I'll do it. Am I overdoing it this morning? If I do, I'm apologizing. I don't think I do it enough. That's why it's called Dad Talk. Why would you come to Dad Talk and tell dads to stop talking? Not going to happen. Not going to happen. They're going to do it more. And you know, one thing that I'll see is these people will make their way into the father's realm, like the father's rights, the guys that are speaking about these challenges. And they'll start saying some of this hoopla, right? And then they'll get a response that they don't like. And see, look, that's how you act. They're here to gaslight you. Take the snapshot and then say, look, that's who they are. They can't argue research. Here's the one thing I want to say. You want to shut it down. You want to shut it down quick. Anytime somebody brings some of that ridiculousness. Now, I'm not talking about the show that's on MTV. I'm talking about the stuff that they do, okay? Rob Dyrdek, you could probably have a lot of segments off of this ridiculousness if you talked about it, though. However, let's get back on the subject. When they do start talking that, just ask them one simple thing. Can you show me the research to back that up? Can you tell me that there isn't a Violence Against Women's Act? Can you tell me there isn't a Title 4D of the Social Security Act? Can you tell me that there is not a Section 8 that goes with a welfare state to keep the dad out of the home and the government will play the daddy role? Can you tell me that these things don't exist? Let's look at the fatherless rate. Let's look at the amount of dads that are fighting to be with their kids and aren't allowed to be with their kids. One that gets me even more is how many dads are out there that would be inside of their children's lives right now, but they can't afford the attorney and they can't afford the family courts, and we will look down on them. Maybe that's all the money he's got. Maybe that was for his house. Maybe that was for the car. Maybe it was for his kids' college. And you're going to talk down on him because he doesn't want to give it to the attorney that would sue their own mom to make money. No, dude, that's his money. He's okay. Listen, men, dads, daddy, masculinity. All right, let's cheer it on one more time. If you talk about the money that you are losing, okay, that would be going towards your family, that would be going towards your kids, towards your future, that you don't want to go to the family courts to get your God-given rights, there's nothing wrong with that. You've been told that if you do that, you put your focus on the money and you're not thinking about the children. That money is for his children. That money is for his families. But we allow them to do that. Just before I got on here, I was watching a news segment. I went from being pissed off to just, it's kind of sitting back and laughing at it because it's like they are grasping at straws any way they can to justify what's going on in this system. There was a dad. He was married, broke up, had 2 kids. In the middle of the breakup, she went and had a little fun, right? He didn't know that, but they were still married. But she told him that was his kid, right? It was his kid. Come to find out, he's paying this child support. It was never his kid to begin with. You know what the court said? It doesn't matter that you're not the biological father. It's about what's in the best interest of the child. And the best interest of the child is what is financially responsible for them. You, dad, who had a woman that took off, went and got pregnant by another man. How dare you not uphold the best interest of your child, even though it's not your child? How dare you not pay this child support money that we are taking a percentage of, and that we act like you are wrong if you don't want to do it? Don't talk about money, Dad. Why wouldn't they want you to talk about money, Dad? Why wouldn't they want you to talk about this kid that you found out wasn't yours? There was somebody that committed adultery. You got fugabooed. You got blinded. And then I won't want you to talk about it. Doggone, you should be glad that all the guys are doing is going on Facebook Lives and stuff and trying to expose what's going on, because these are situations where you're really pissing guys off. You're messing with their families. You're messing with their finances. You're messing with everything that makes the world go round. And why? Because it makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside to count them dollars, You know, and when they can't argue with the research, guys, when they can't argue with what we're saying here, you know what's going to be next? Let's tell you who Eric Carroll is, or let's tell you who this father is. Let's tell you this. Let's pull out the old bag of life and see if we can find something to make them shut up because, dude, they're messing with our money. Oh, you're messing with our money. Don't let them keep talking. Don't let them keep talking. Media, do not talk about these things. They're not sexy. People don't want to hear it. Stay out of those civil issues. Don't do it. Don't do it. Cops, same thing. Yeah, don't get involved in that. No, man. Arrest them, take them to jail. You got to be on the safe side. Come on, man. Let's do it one more time. Ooh, man, I got some energy, feeling good today. See, that's what Dad Talk does to me. It gets me energized. Are you ready? Dad, father, male, man, and masculinity. And everybody in the Dad Talk audience said, amen. Okay, can I be honest with you guys? So, in the middle of this, not to get on too much of a different subject, I am feeling good. Can you tell it? Guess what I found out? I have been trying to run an engine that has no gasoline, okay, with my body. You know, I was trying to promote what's going on with this. I think it's even harder for these guys that are going through family court issues because they might not even have enough money to get their house, let alone go and get their health checked out. And dude, I've been going that for the past 3.5, 4 years, doing everything I can. I don't go to the doctor unless I'm sick, but every morning it's everything I can just to get my head out of the bed. And I had myself convinced it was just because of the stories that I was hearing, and that's doing a number on me. But no, dude, my testosterone was dangerously low. My vitamin D, everything was dangerously low. I was sitting in this desk all day long doing nothing but working towards family law, doing these conversations, doing it without any funds coming in, and then all the opposition and stuff that we face. And I'm going to tell you, one of the worst things that could have happened for these people that want you to shut up was I went and got tested and found out what was going on. And my doctor's got me feeling pretty dang good. Can you feel the flow that's coming out? Can you hear what I'm? And that's Dad Talk, baby. That's Dad Talk. Men, make sure you're going out there and taking care of yourself, because when we can get you to this point where you can feel better, you can fight. There's going to be many obstacles. If you want to fight behind this movement, I hear it all the time. Eric, what do I need to do? I'm wanting to fight. I want to get involved. What do I do? I don't know, man. Your vision isn't my vision. I've got a vision. I'm working towards it. And you know what? Next week, I might look back on my last week's vision and say, I need to change that up a little bit. I could have done something a little bit different, but I keep working towards it. And it makes me feel good knowing that I don't want to pass this on to the next generation. And I have become a part of the solution. But guys, when you get in the middle of this and your funds is being taken from you, you're sitting at the house and that's all that's playing on your mind. You don't realize you're not the best version of yourself. It's not that you're not able, not just that you're not given the opportunity to go and be a father and be with your kids. It's taking away the best version of yourself, the one that wants to take care of yourself, that says, I am important, I matter, and I can make a difference. Some of you guys are so broken and beaten down, you don't even know which way you're walking right now. Go take care of yourself, man. Make sure that we're having these conversations so our men can get healthy and realize, look, we ain't going to let it happen. You too could be one of those guys on the other side of this screen when we're talking about this. I would love to take everybody in the community's hands right now and just put it on this button when I say dad, men, males, boys.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
And masculinity. Oh, we need you. Moms too. Hey, guess what? Moms too. We need moms too in this movement. We need moms that are going to say, this is what the truth is. Some of us are facing these battles, but we realize what's been done to men. And because of the bias against men, when we lose custody, they look at us as the scum of the earth. They need to fix that. And we need to get equality in family courts, because if we do that, it might fix it for all of us. There is a very lopsided battle here, guys. And it's been that way for decades and decades and decades. And the one thing that I've noticed is we've got to create our own media. We've got to start having these. Are you going to see what I'm saying right now on the news channels? I'm not going to name any specific one, because I don't think any of them are going to do it. Are they going to say this? No. And what's going to happen? We're going to become controversial. You guys are being divisive. You're doing this. Like, shut these guys up. Shut them up. Man, no, don't let nobody shut you up. Guys, wake up. Smell the coffee. the people in this movement that allows that little bit of pushback when they do it to make them cower in the corner. What are you doing, man? Do you not realize that's the emasculation right there? That anytime that you're talking about facts and you start making somebody uncomfortable, that you've got to start changing what you're saying to make other people feel good. The more that you sit there and worry about somebody else's comfortability when they're not worried about the situation and your comfort, this is what happens. The situation and the conversation has become so taboo. We are not supposed to talk about it, to the point that, man, I can tell you, you can tell when somebody just doesn't care anything about what you got to say. You know, we can have one of the most popular booths at these conferences and stuff, man, be tearing it up. Somebody comes over, Dad Talk. Oh, that's cool, man. What do you talk about? The challenges men go through in divorce. Oh, okay. You're doing a good job. Keep it up, sir. Thank you. And then there's like all interest is gone at that point in time. They don't even want to listen. They don't even want to listen to what you're going through, Dad. Now, am I talking about everybody? Are we painting them with the same brush? No, but I would say the majority. I've been out there enough and I've had enough conversations to know, to see it, and I'm sick and tired of it, man. We got to stop worrying about going to the very ones when you got attorneys that are in office, guys, that are making the laws. And these are the people, a lot of them that are affiliated with the family court that you're going to. And you keep thinking, if I do this right strategy, if I do this research, if I go to the Capitol, if I do this, you've got a lot of wasted efforts that you could have been in here grabbing one of your brothers saying, come on, let's pull him out the trenches. Come on, let's get out of here. Let's say dad. Let's say men. Let's say masculinity. And guys, get in here. You're important. You matter. Let's make the conversation change. Let's make sure that they hear what we've got to say for once. Let's create this media arm that's not afraid to say the things that I have in my head. How many of you guys have thoughts in your head that you think of when you're thinking about these family court battles, and you keep them all to yourself because you know there is going to be people that are going to talk down on you if you do it? No longer. Speak it into life. You shouldn't have to be going into family court in the first place. Dads that are abusive, dads that are doing all the other things that the ones I'm not talking about are not doing, okay? Or the ones I'm talking about are not doing. The ones that are doing that stuff, you need to be in family court. You probably need to be in jail. I'd say the same thing for the moms. Dude, nobody should be wanting to harm kids. Nobody should want to be harming their spouse or anything like that, by no means. But at the same time, the ones that aren't doing these things, that are going inside of these courts, paying for their own kids, paying for their family in the midst of a breakup, and we wonder why the nuclear family is in the situation that it is. And I'm going to tell you, the Unborn Child Support Act, I'm sitting here looking at all the Republicans over there on the right, the ones that I sat there the past 3.5 to 4 years talking to, eye to eye, coming to you, spending money we didn't have just to get there and get the suits and try to make it a way that you would even acknowledge us. And then we see something like the Unborn Child Support Act coming out. And these are the people that claim to be about the nuclear family. They're the people that claim to be Christians. Let me tell you something. How in the world are you going to go to church on Sunday and talk about how God the Father is so important, but when it comes to the father at home, the one that he talks about in the Bible that needs to be the leader in the home, you're the one that's keeping him out of the home. You're going to tell me that you're a Christian conservative and you're going to be a part of something like that? Bull crap. You hear me? Bull crap. And it's people that say they stand for something that they don't. When can we find real people? When is the last time you've heard somebody that's got up on those podiums or talked about something that sounds different than everybody else? Because let me tell you something, that will connect with people. And once they do that, they'll start copying him. Okay. But we rarely see it. It's because it's a game, man. It's a game. You claim to be about the nuclear family. You claim to be about Christianity. But when it comes to dads, man, dude, I have seen some of the hardest looks. And like I said, it disgusts me. And dude, you men have been fugabooed for so long. There are some of these guys that are even worse than the feminists. Oh man, just up and pay your child support. You're being immature if this is going on. You know, it's your fault. You know, you need to be like me. I won my case, so everybody else in the world who has a different case than what I do, a different story, because I want it. Everybody else is supposed to be able to do it too. That is somebody that is so mentally sick, allegedly, that thinks that everything and everybody on the face of this earth is supposed to be going through the same consequences as them. They can't think outside of their own head. This was my situation, so it happens with everybody else. And I would say the same thing with a lot of this moms too crowd. Do you know how many times when the dads get to talking, we're going to hear, not my baby daddy, not my baby daddy. My baby daddy ain't crap. He don't want anything to do with his kids. The only dad he's got is my new man's. That's all he got. My baby daddy don't want nothing, and I beg him all the time. What does that begging look like? You ain't a good dad. You're a piece of crap. You could come see your kid, but you ain't seeing your kid. Can I see my kid? No, you didn't see her. Last time I tried to tell you, I was at work. I was still on my shift, but I tried to come afterwards, and you went like, you're just making excuses. If you wanted to do it, you would do it anytime you can. I've heard it all, man. I've heard it all. Those would be the ones that show up. Moms too. What about my baby daddy? What about my baby daddy? This is what my baby daddy did. So all of these other dads, they are just like my baby daddy. If that's not discrimination, if that's not sexism, if that's not all of these things in the world, the isms and the ifs and stuff that we hear now, I don't know what is. And what is you guys' plan for making it better? The ones that would like to see this system change, don't talk about it. Don't mention it. Make people comfortable. Don't talk about dads. Oh, there we go. Do you want another round of it? Dad. Men, males, boys, masculinity. I'm pushing some of the wrong buttons every once in a while. I'm pushing buttons. Dad. Anyway, I'm having fun with it. You have no idea what those three letters, dad, does to people who don't want you to talk. You are the leaders in your homes. You are an example in your child's life. And I feel so sorry for some of these guys that are trying to be dads. And every time they try to give some structure, stability, morals, masculinity inside of their child's life, they have somebody on the other side saying, you don't have to listen to him. Your daddy is wrong. That is somebody that you had a child with, that you believed in at one point in time, and he didn't become this ugly monster until you broke up with him. You know, it's sad, man. It's sad that that's where we are in our world right now. And the only way you guys are going to overcome it is to stare evil in the face and say, I'm not backing down. I wish I could play copyrighted music on here because we'd have Tom Petty. No, I won't back down. No, I won't back down. You can. Anyway, I'm killing you right now. I play for tips. There's the links down at the bottom. But no, serious, you can't back down, man. And there's the situations. Nothing, makes me sadder than when I hear from one of these guys like, look, my child is out of hand. I want to be a dad, but I know if I do, they're not going to want to come to me anymore. It's just going to make them go to their mom even more. What does that dad do? He stops becoming a father, stops giving the discipline, stops playing the role that he's supposed to, because he knows that somebody can just dangle that relationship in front of him. And if he makes them mad or angry or doesn't do something their way, I'm pulling it back. You can't have your kids no more. You're either going to make them act, give them the freedom, do everything that I want you to do, the way they eat, the way they dress and everything. You're either going to do it my way or I'm going to pull them away from you, because you know what? I've got control. And guess what happens if they pull them back? That's supposed to be contempt of court. Do they do something about it all the time? Not all the time. Many times I hear more guys say, more times than not, they don't do anything with contempt of court than ever. Now, if it was on the other side, when these dads are doing it, dude, that quick, tell me I'm a liar. Many of you would not be sitting here watching the show that you're watching right now if this was on the other side. It's just the truth. And for the ones that want to come in here with the moms too, Eric, you're being divisive. The only reason that I'm sitting here is because I know what it's like having a price tag put on my child and not being able to afford it. This is not a money thing for me. This is not something that I want to be doing for the rest of my life. But I also know I was one of those guys that just to hear you're important, you matter, and tomorrow is going to be another day would have made all the difference in my life. I didn't think it was ever going to happen. And I know my brothers out there are facing it too. I'm somebody that has the confidence enough to get on this screen and say, let me go into this head of mine and pull out these memories where I was broken and beaten down. I was defeated. And I'll bring them up and speak about them now only because I know I have overcame it and I can stare those same obstacles and those same situations in the face now and say, guess what? You tried to break me, but I took that which was meant to break me and I let it make me. I turned my pain into purpose. And I am one of the crazies. I am one of the dreamers that believe we can make this conversation red hot and that we can actually overturn this system and this bias that we have been facing for generations. Listen, if you're going to be having kids, if you're a part of the future generation, maybe you're not going through it now. Why does it matter to you? What are you going to do when you go to that gender reveal and that balloon pops and it's blue? When you look down in the eyes of your little boy, the one that you brought into this world, that you love, that you're there to protect, when you look down in his eyes and know that this system is already set up and the way it's going to get 10 times worse. I want you to look into the eyes of that kid and then you tell me that there is not a bias. It's easy for you to look at me. Okay. You might not like the way I look. You might not like the way I dress or the way I talk. That's fine. You can say anything you want to about me. We have no relationship. All you know is when I come on my show and it's so easy for you to comment down there on social media, think you got all the answers. That's fine. You know what? Don't worry about me. Put me down all you want, but I want you to look into the eyes of that child, that baby, and say that there is no bias and that the system doesn't need to change. Sometimes these issues don't hit people. They don't understand the seriousness of it until it affects them. And guess what? There is going to be no more guilty feeling on the face of this earth than when you see that moment happen and you look back and you learn one of the worst mistakes that you ever made was not speaking up now because you had the opportunity to do it, but because you had the blinders on, but because you didn't want to hear what these dads are going through. You just wanted to chalk it up to, they don't want to pay child support. They're all deadbeats and all this. You allowed that to happen. That's the future generation for those boys that are sitting down there that you're going to be mothering. This is passing on to them. So you might have came on this show hating me. You might still hate me. But if you're one of those moms that's got those boys, and did that resonate with you? Let's do it one more time. I want you to do it with me. Dads, boys, men, fathers, masculinity, my children, the future. I want to protect the future generation, my grandkids, to make sure that they don't go through this same thing. Make no mistake, what are we talking about here? I am very confident and bold with the way that I say it. But just in case it hasn't resonated or people don't understand, I know it's dad talk. And we're going to talk about dads because they're not talked about enough at the same time. We could be a quality talk today. Equality. The dads is really one of the only groups that I see that are talking about equality now. We live in a world that is just looking for a way to be victimized. I know that. People that are just looking to be offended. I know that. But a lot of that stuff is just kind of happening, the past couple of decades, and it's just getting worse and worse. But this fight that's been going on against dads and the attack on masculinity has been going on for a long time. And I can promise you, am I going to be blind and say that I don't think there was a lot of men that caused this years ago? No. Dude, it hurts me more than ever when I have the guys that come to the show and say I didn't have a dad or my dad didn't want anything to do with me. There's a couple of thoughts that I have when I hear that. The first one's going to be, did he really not want you? Is your mom holding a secret? Do you know this for sure? The other part of that's going to be, how in the world could a dad turn their back on a child and not want to love them because it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me on the face of this earth. I sit here before you as a dad telling you, man, I got so many challenges right now when it comes to being a father, and it's stressful. It's what's put a lot of these gray hairs on. At the same time, I wouldn't take nothing for it, and I would fight tooth and nail for my kids. Sometimes you got to step back and just say, you got to learn things on your own. That's kind of the situation I'm in with a few of them right now. But I love them to death, and they knew if they needed somebody, they could call me. But how could a father turn their back? And was it a dad that tried to go through the system and then they faced what we did? Listen, it's unpopular, and people want to use this to smear you. These dads that are walking away from the system, they're saying, I am not going through the courts because I can't afford it, and I don't feel like it's going to bring anything good. It's actually going to do worse in my life. These guys that are having to walk away from the system, you cannot blame them. There is a difference in walking away on your kids saying, I don't want to be there. I don't want to love you. I don't want to take care of you. And I don't want to help raise you. And I don't want to support you, versus saying, I'm not paying an attorney. I'm not paying a judge. I am not going to these experts and all this other stuff because it's my kid. I've done nothing wrong. And that is unnecessary money being spent that's going to cripple me from being able to live my life, put me in depression, put me into poverty. And it's my child in the first place. But now I can't afford it. And that's what they're telling me I have to do. And if I can't do it, do I sit here and stress myself out over it? Or do I walk away? There is a difference in the dad that walks away from their child and walks away from this system. You understand? Are the guys that are walking away from this system wrong? How could you even sit there and say that to them? I'm not trying to promote that, guys. By no means. Fight. But it needs to be a justifiable fight. What we are seeing dads have to do to be inside of their kids' life is wrong on every turn. Any judge, tell me. You can bring up the extreme cases where a dad did this or did that. You can bring those up with moms too. We are talking about you're going to tell me the majority of people coming through there are like that. I don't buy it from one bit whatsoever. We can see the failures on this system every single day, including child protection services. You know, the crazy thing is I was reading up on CPS the other day. I did it live on the show. I didn't cherry pick. Like most of those murders, man, are like where the kids were dying. I was in mom and stepdad's care. You can't tell me that this is a one-sided conversation and that these guys don't have merit to what they're speaking. If you can, when you see stuff like that, it tells me everything I need to know about you. What I would ask of somebody like that, that's usually somebody that doesn't want to learn, that doesn't have no give and take. And let me tell you something. If one of them came and they could provide some research and show me where I was wrong, I'd be the first one to come on the screen and tell you, okay, yeah, let's look at that. And thank you for bringing it to me. But we can do that with them, and they ain't going to listen to a thing that you've got to say. So what I'd ask is just don't bother with me. Go on your merry little way, because I am here for the dads, for the men, males, boys, masculinity, and the moms and the stepmoms and the grandmas that believe in this fight for the future generation, for the current generation that knows what we are trying to change for the future. That's who I'm here for. And that's where my attention is going to be. Does father's rights cause division? Yes, it does. Is it the advocates that are doing it? No, it is not. Father's rights causes division because they needed to divide us from the family so that we would have to pay to even get an ounce of custody or equality or what have you. And it's happened like that for decades. It sickens me. I have a hard time. I'm okay with disagreeing with people, you know, respectfully agreeing or disagreeing with people. But when you have people that call themselves experts, okay, researchers or whatever, and they are looking at this, saying that same hoopla, that you guys aren't justified in what you're saying, that we're causing division and that it's a 50-50 battle. I can't take a thing that you've got to say seriously. You know what I think? You're a person that's looking for billable hours and knows that's what the problem is, but you don't want to address it, because if you address it, those billable hours go away. And that's not advocacy, that's advertising. And it's disguised as advocacy. And it's happened too much in these groups for too many years. Dad Talk ain't gonna let it happen anymore. That's what I came on here to say today. Did you guys enjoy that? Man, I'm looking forward. Got a lot going on at the end of this month. It's going to be a very heavy month. That was another reason, trying to get myself into shape and get my head ready, because people don't see what happens once the camera goes off. Dude, sometimes it feels like you're talking to a brick wall. You're just banging your head up against the wall saying, man, come on. You got parents that are reaching out to you. Look, man, my son got killed, or, my child died, and CPS didn't do anything. And they're coming to me for answers. And you want to know what the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life is, guys, is have a heart for somebody like that and care for them. Eric, what do I do? A podcast? Get your story out? No, I'm not putting down the power of that podcast. I'm glad I can give you a platform. But there's no answers for that. None. You cannot excuse the stories that we are hearing on here and the amount of money that it is costing these guys just to keep their kids on this earth, let alone in their life so they can be dads. And they're looking for answers. And a guy that cares about him so much, my whole team does, I have to look at him and say, I can help you promote it. You know what? That makes me look like a guy that does sensationalism, that's out here just trying to promote stories. And that, dude, I am trying to promote the stories. A lot of these stories, if it wouldn't have been on Dad Talk, you wouldn't have heard them anywhere else. And I'm going to tell you, they would rival anything you see on Netflix or any other TV program out there, because they're extreme. Why are they not reporting on these family law cases and these dads? Every once in a while, I might get some local media. Where is it on the national level? You did it for Johnny Depp. You understand? You did it for Johnny Depp. Why aren't you doing it for these guys? Because they don't get you the ratings? Because it's not going to sell the advertising? I beg to differ. I think if you actually saw some of these programs going out, you would see just how many people would get behind it. But in the midst of that being absent on TV and in the conversation out in the normal everyday society out on the streets, these dads feel like they aren't even a part of the conversation. And then you want to come in here with that moms too and tell them they're not telling the truth. Can somebody say dads for me? Can you say dads matter? You're important. You matter. And this is just a little moment in time, dude. That challenge that you're going through right now, I know it's hard to see what's going to be, but you are becoming somebody stronger. You are becoming somebody wiser. There is a reason we go through the things that we do. The guy I was 6 years ago in the midst of this battle could have never got on this microphone doing what I'm doing now. I had to become broken and rebuild myself in order to even be able to look at you and say a little bit of my story. I was that broken and beaten down, self-confidence so low, I didn't believe I was good for anything. That guy would have never been able to do what I'm doing now, but I stayed in there. Even when I didn't think there was going to be any light at the end of the tunnel. And look what I'm doing now, damn it. I'm going to be going across the country a little bit later on this month. I'm going to find other dads that have been through stories like mine. I'm going to continue to do it as long as I can. Say, brother, grab my hand. I want you to take this microphone and tell the world what you're going through. They may think that the world doesn't care. They may think they're going to shut you up, but we are going to get this message louder than we ever had. And when I put this microphone in front of your face, you are going to connect with an audience that hears it and that wants to help. They see your child in the problem that they've went through. They've seen your love for your child and that you desire that relationship and the challenges that you are going through. We aren't going to just couple up with the media. You know, I've been offered the network deals, and it's something that I've been really weighing on my mind right now because we do face censorship. There is only so much I'm reaching of my own audience, which is just crazy. Our reach is like 18 to 20 million people per month. How many people am I reaching on the videos, dude? It's crazy. And going to a network, maybe some financial stability. It would be good to have some financial stability and while doing this, but no. I'm here with you guys. I am here with you because we need this network. We need our own media. And it's time that we create it, because guess what the power is? And when we create it, you ain't going to tell me what I'm going to say. You ain't going to tell me what time I'm going to do it and how much I'm going to do it. I'm going to get out here and do it whenever I feel like. I'm going to do Dad Talk today. I did it yesterday. I'm going to do it tomorrow, next week, next year. We're going to do Dad Talk every day. Maybe I need to rebrand the podcast, Dad Talk Every Day, because that's what we're doing. And I want to find the other dads and the other leaders that we can start building up. It's like the show with Jimmy Smith. I want to make sure we still got content going out, and maybe he can bring an angle that I'm not right now, but at the same time, cultivate other leaders so that they can do this. I know some of the bull crap that's went on in this movement and the drama and stuff, it gets old, and I'm not even going to give it a time of day, but it makes people think like, yeah, I don't want to put into somebody. Bull crap, man. I'm finding some good people. Let's build them up. Let's give them a platform. That gives me time off for my family on that day, right? And it's somebody that is really well spoken. Let's start building up our brothers. Let's start telling them that they are important. They do matter. Look, I'm getting a little bit better. You hear me stumbling on my word? That was one of the symptoms that I was dealing with. Fatigue, night sweats, not eating, gaining weight. Like, dude, I'm starting to feel a little bit more like me. And the more that I come on here and just pull back the curtain and say, this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is how I feel about it, the more I love coming on here and talking to you guys. And we've got to create a community that's warm and loving, also caring. We need people to care when these situations go down. We can no longer say, look, this makes me sad. I don't want to look at that. Dude, it's freaking reality. We've got to report on those cases. So we need to see some empathy at the same time for the ones that are feeling broken and beaten down. They need to be able to come into these shows and see somebody say, they just said hey to me. Hey, this guy's going through what I'm going through. He's telling me I can make it through this. Oh my God, did you hear what that guy on the screen's talking about with this family law and this divorce stuff? I feel like he's telling my story. As much as the details are different, man, dads, let me talk to you. All of the dads that are tuning in right now, listening to what we're talking about, this is all of our story. That's where we've got it wrong. Everybody thinks my story, my story, my story. This is all of our story. And when it becomes everybody's story, we are rewriting history right now by doing what we're doing right here. Make it warming, welcoming, but be fierce. Don't back down. Moms too. Dad Talk. You are at Dad Talk. You understand? I've got moms that support my show. And any of them, I tell you, they feel just as welcome and we get along with them just as much. You're just here to shut guys up. Your narrative doesn't work here. Take it on somewhere. Dads, men, boys, male, masculinity. That's Dad Talk. And I'm proud to be here, damn it. And I can't wait to do it with you again. That's going to be it for today. I hope that starts off your week well. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. It's part of the show. I never know which way to do it. It's like doing it backwards. You know, when you're reading something backwards in a mirror. Anyway, down there at the bottom, right there. That's how you can support the show. Patreon as well. Subscriptions, memberships, YouTube, Facebook, the GoFundMe for John Mass, guys. That one is really what's number one priority on my list right now. I look at what it's like when we made a documentary and we followed that case for 2 years, just the war that we have trying to raise money for that one case. That is very indicative of what we're facing over here on the platform. It is. But they need that money to fight that battle. So please, that is a lot of stress on my shoulders, but I'm doing it for good reason. Please, if you can support that, do so. And other than that, when you leave here today, I hope you're able to look in that mirror. I hope you're able to smile, Dad. I hope you go and take care of yourself. Get in the gym. Realize that you can make it through this. Realize to detach from this fight. You cannot consume this fight morning, day, and night. Take this from a guy that's been there and done that, and it done a number on me. Man, it did a number on me. It will do a number on you. Just like you are what you eat, you are what you think, right? And if all you're thinking about is this bad battle, that's what your life is every day when you wake up, when you're going somewhere. Get in here, have some fun. That's why we laugh. That's why we make jokes. Don't take it too serious. If you wasn't going through those battles, you wouldn't have a hard time laughing at some of those memes. If you wasn't going through those battles, you wouldn't have no trouble getting in there and making some jokes, with your friends and stuff. That's what we do. That's masculinity. That's not toxic masculinity. That's just the way we build relationships, man. They can put us down for it, but you know what? We don't take ourselves too serious. Now, the dad that won't talk to the other dad because he believes the story. Yeah, maybe that. But for the most part, like, dude, guys at work and stuff like that, we cut up. We don't take each other too serious. We make jokes, and that's okay. That's okay. We got a different way of doing things. And that's why I made Dad Talk, so we can do it that way. So if it does not find its way to you, or like inside of you, like, I don't know what I want to do with this message, then don't watch it, damn it. I mean, it's that simple. Moms do. Go to a mom page and tell them that. But when you come here, it's dads. That's what we're talking about. Okay? And when we talk about dads, we're talking about the importance of the nuclear family and equality. The one thing I don't ever see on any of those other pages. Ever. So what are you talking to? That's Dad Talk. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hey everybody, Eric Carroll here. Thank you for tuning in to another exciting episode of Dad Talk Today. While we fight for you, we would ask for you to please help fight for us. Like, subscribe to our channel, and ring that bell so you get notifications every time we go live. There's also Super Chats, patreon.com/dadtalktoday, and other ways you can support our channel. Thank you for being here, and we